Okay, can you hear this? Can you hear that? Okay. Okay, let me stand away. All right, well, we're here, and I'm not sure if anybody in the room expected to be here for his 100th birthday. But as a point of reference, Foster came into this world the same year as the Titanic. But 100 years ago, his heart will go on. Kind of corny, kind of corny. For those of you who were here for his 95th birthday, you might remember that we had dinner, and if you notice, Grandpa was leaning a little bit to the left at one point, and Lana ran over there to straighten him up. And I'm not sure how many people noticed it. And then about a couple minutes later, he started leaning to the right, and my mom ran over and straightened him up. So then about halfway through the dinner, he started leaning forward, and then Lana ran back and straightened him up again. So I went over to Grandpa afterwards and said, "How's the dinner going?" He said, "It's great, but they won't let me fart." I've got a lot more. So, going way back, Grandpa was born in the winter of 1912, and after high school he started looking for the woman of his dreams, and he was into older women, so he found Ruth. She was 24 days older. And they raised 3 wonderful daughters, my mom, Charlotte, my aunt, Ginger, and my aunt, Lana. Yes. Besides the family, he created and led one of the most successful businesses ever in Owen. He started the company in 1937 when he was 25. And who knew how lucrative LP gas, soft water, and farm machinery would be? But it wasn't all luck. It was Grandpa's intelligence and his hard work that made it successful. And it wasn't surprising that it closed a few years after you sold it. So talking about success, Grandpa's had a lot of milestones in his life that really weren't related to just the family and the business. So for example, at 4, his big success was not peeing in his pants. Yeah. No, he doesn't remember. At 12, it was having friends. At 16, it was having a driver's license. At 25, it was having sex. And at 35, it was having money. Well, at 50, it was having money. At 60, it was having sex. At 70, it was having a driver's license. At 85, having friends. And at 100, not peeing in his pants. Comes all back. So, Grandpa's always been known to have the latest fad. So he had the first push-button shifting car in Owen. He had the first TV in Owen, and it had an 85-foot antenna. He got his first email account when he was in his 80s. He built one of the nicest houses in town, and it's just a couple doors down. And to my knowledge, he's the oldest person allowed in Wisconsin to drive a scooter. And get ready, this weekend he's ready to unveil his Facebook account so he can connect with his childhood friends. I've got another page. I do want to thank Grandfather for all of his generosity, his kindness, advice, his love, his inspiration, and all the countless gifts that you've given me and our family. And I want to thank you for the foresight to get Packers tickets in the 1940s. And I want to thank you for getting a cottage up north where we had a place to go to when we were kids. The interesting thing about the cottage is that it only had 2 bathroom choices. One was an outhouse that had no lights, and the other one had a gas toilet. So all of us kids were kind of afraid to use the gas toilet because instead of a flush handle, it had a little knob that would burst some flames through there and burn up the contents. But it was right next to the light switch. So still to this day, Terry won't talk about it.
Touche.
Touche. There were a lot of great memories. When we were young, we used to go to the cottage and play a lot of games. We played 500 Rummy, we played Cribbage, we played Crazy Eights, we played 20 Questions, we played Candyland, and outside we'd go play tag or kick the can. We'd play hide and go seek, we played Simon Says. Well, now Grandpa's games are a little bit different than back then. So now he plays SAG, You're It.
Let that one sink in a second.
Yeah. He plays 20 Questions shouted into your good ear. Kick the bucket. Red Rover, send the nurse right over. Doc, Doc, Goose. Simon Says something incoherent. Hide and go pee. Spin the bottle of my Lanta. And musical recliners. So I was asking Lana how she thinks he's made it all this time. And she said it's his new exercise routine that he started about 3 years ago. So the routine was he'd go back in the back of the house, go stand outside with a 5-pound potato sack, and he'd extend his arms straight out and hold the potato sack for as long as he could. Well, after a few months of that, he graduated to 10-pound potato sacks, and then to 50-pound potato sacks. And finally he got to the point where he could hold a 100-pound potato sack in each hand straight out for a full minute. So next week he's going to put potatoes actually in the sacks.
Must be getting good.
Last page. He's always been a man of good advice. He values hard work, he values education, and he advised all of us to save our money and to invest in bonds. And it was a bit ironic, in 2008, he called me one day and said he was thinking about investing in stocks for the very first time, and he wanted some tips. Well, procrastinating on that thing was the best thing I ever did, because in October of 2008, the Dow dropped 8% in one day and then hit the lowest of its point of the millennium 6 months later. So I'm glad I never gave him stock tips. And then I think he bought a minivan, which he kept for 6 months and then traded that. So anyway, I asked Grandfather for some advice and some words on what it feels like to be 100. And he gave me about 6 or 7 things I thought I'd share with you. One, when he straightens out the wrinkles in his socks, and then he discovers he's not wearing any. At the breakfast table, he hears snap, crackle, pop, and he's not even eating cereal. He now wakes up in the morning actually looking like his driver's license picture. And his idea of happy hour is a nap. And his idea of weightlifting is standing up. His address book has mostly people that start with doctor. Everything hurts, and what doesn't work. And the last thing is, when he sinks his teeth into a steak, they stay there. So, Grandpa, you're a truly remarkable man and mentor, and one of the very few people in the room that remembers the days before Betty White. And you've outlasted the Encyclopedia Britannica. And you have more accomplishments to brag about than anybody in this room. So without you, I wouldn't be here, and neither would most of the people in these tables. In a couple years, I'll be 50, and I used to think that was old, but thanks to you, we all get to feel a little bit young again. So thank you so much, and happy 100.